I'm Tad Flaky, and this is Pointless Global News. On today's show, he's got Spunk, what happens when astronauts ejaculate in space.
Next, I'll give you the 411 on reusable toilet wipes.
Then we'll meet a teacher who identifies as a cat and hisses at their students. These and other pointless stories coming your way, but first, let me introduce you to my charming and delightful wife, Lilibet Flaky, to the Pointless Global News team.
So happy to be joining you, Tad.
I
want everyone to know how flaky I am.
Yeah, well, the world needs to know. So anyway, first story here is about information that could really come in handy. Randy astronauts may find themselves in need of a little sexual relief while touring the galaxy. But when a rocket man can no longer keep up with those inner passions pinned up, well, the release of his bodily fluids in zero gravity makes some out-of-this-world motion, so say a set of scientists. Let's talk about Spunk, said sexpert Esma Louise James, per a trending TikTok. In space, added astrophysicist Matthew Agnew in a collaborative clip dedicated to space cadets and ejaculation. Talking about getting freaky in the final frontier is a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it. Interest in SpaceX has been piqued in recent months owing to Suni Williams and Barry Butch Wilmore, the astronauts of the International Space Station, due to technical issues on the aircraft, a Boeing Starliner spacecraft, which was launched for what was meant to be only an 8-day trip back in June of 2024. Well, the twosome are now stranded in the Great Frontier for what seems like indefinitely. Since the mishap, social media savages have speculated that the astronauts have engaged in naughty behavior to pass the time. And while solar system insiders claim that interstellar intercourse is not impossible, the pros say it would be difficult to enjoy the due to a lack of stability in the high skies. But should a male moonwalker find some time for a little self-pleasure, James and Agnew say that the outcomes of an outer space orgasm are otherworldly. What would happen if a man's rocket blasted off in space, pondered James. In the NSFW NASA-inspired video, the eye-popping post amassed over 24,000 views. When a man ejaculates in the vacuum of space, how fast backwards is he propelled? Asked Agnew before he and James revealed the goopy answer via a conversation of momentum. It's a fundamental concept of physics, according to NASA. The concept states that the total momentum of two or more bodies in the system will remain the same, said Agnew. This means that the mass multiplied by the velocity of the ejaculated will equal the mass multiplied by the velocity of the man, continued the astro know-it-all. Are you keeping up with all this? I'm starting to get lost myself here. Anyway, to prove that he wasn't just jerking viewers around, Agnew and James did the man-juice math. The academic duo calculated the average volume of space spunk, approximately 1 teaspoon, as well as its density, 1 gram, and the average speed of the ejaculation, which they found to be about 45 kilometers per hour. After multiplying the density by volume to find the mass, Agnew and James multiplied the mass by the velocity. And that gives us the momentum of the ejaculate, Agnew announced with pride. So let's say that the average man weighs 155 pounds, he said. This means the velocity must equal 0.000562 meters per second. Thankfully, James put their funky-spunky finding in layman's terms. This means our astronaut, who has blasted off into the vacuum of space, is now traveling backwards at 2 meters per hour. It's about the speed of an average garden snail, said Agnew, which, by the way, travels at only 1 meter per hour. So, if you ever find yourself in the vacuum of space and you want to use ejaculate as a propellant, he warned, you're not going to be moving very quickly.
A family who have ditched toilet roll for white flannels insists their system is so much cleaner, despite trolls branding them gross. Proud mom Jasmine Brooke always makes sure her household is stocked up with plenty of reusable towels and explained her family's toilet habits to her followers online. But it's not gone down well. She decided to share a video online of her shock toilet roll rule, which has racked up over 2.6 million views. But now people have slammed her for her disgusting idea. Unbothered by the comments, Jasmine proceeded to tell viewers how her family all use the same white flannel, insisting it's more common than people think. Explaining how it works, Jasmine said she had just washed all of the towels and was folding and stocking up the basket in the toilet where they're all kept. She said she prefers to have white towels as they're easier to bleach and address questions of whether they use the same towels. Technically, yes, we use the same one, but not at the same time. We wash them. You use one and then you put it in the dirty bin, she said. It's not dirty what you're wiping as you bidet first and then pat dry. However, she said she does end up having to do a lot of washing and said, "We did go through our toilet paper a lot quicker this week, so I had to do 2 loads yesterday because we ate at Taco Bell, and it really did not settle well." Everyone was fighting over the reusable toilet paper. As a family of 6, it can be quite difficult to keep it going, but we have a lot. The mom said it's not dirty and said it's not just what people call it as they're not familiar with it, and said the towels get washed in hot water. It's no different than just using a towel after the shower because you're clean when you use these. It's been such a game changer. You're so much cleaner when you use a bidet. But she said she only allows 1 towel per toilet use and explained, "I forbid using more than 1 towel at one use. So if you're really having tummy problems, you get to use the big towel." The mom said she keeps the big towel close by, just in case somebody really needs it. The video has caused a mixed reaction in the comments, with some totally on board with her logic, but others think it's unhygienic. One viewer said, "How are people saying this is gross? She literally washes herself after, and you guys just smear with dry tissue and are apparently cleaner." And a second said, "With a bidet, I find this completely acceptable." While others didn't agree and said, "Imagine washing your clothes after she washed the towels in the same machine." And another simply penned, "This is disgusting."
I think that big towel will be necessary for any trip to White Castle, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yuck. Anyway, our next story is about some parents that have expressed their concern at a Queensland, Australia high school teacher who has reportedly been referring to themselves as a cat, allegedly hissing at students and licking the back of their hands during class. The teacher, who works at Marsden State High School in Logan City, south of Brisbane, has reportedly asked students to call her Miss Purr. Photos and short videos show the teacher wearing a cat ear headband and lanyard with the word purr on it while in front of the classroom. She forces the children to call her Miss Purr, and cat screeches and growls when they don't listen. Or so said one of the parents on Facebook. She sits in class and licks her hands. It's absolutely disgusting. Something needs to be done about this. I myself would like answers. It all could be innocent, as I know a lot of kids can be overly dramatic, she said. On the same Facebook post, one mother alleged that the teacher made her daughter purr for a lollipop.
And in our next story, a man was captured on video in Palmerstown, North New Zealand, using a busy kiddie pool to give himself a bath back on February 6th. The man, who wore swim trunks, had a bar of soap and lathered up his arms and legs before putting his hand down his shorts and vigorously washing his hindquarters. Facebook user Luminous the God let his camera roll as everyone around the pool looked on, commenting, "Bro, it's not a bath, all right? Kids, get out of the pool." People who viewed the video wondered why no one confronted the man, but others defended him, with one noting, "I've heard children laughing about taking a piss in the same pool. I watched another child drink from it. Who's really the yuck one?" another complained. Whole pool of people and no one in that video stood up and told him to stop?
Fascinating. And that's a wrap for another Pointless Global News. Be sure to follow us wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Tad Flaky.
And I'm Lilibet Flaky.
Stay pointless, my friend.